Good afternoon, everyone. We are here for the Human Resources Committee in room 903. A copy of the Open Meetings Act is located on the wall as you enter the room. With me today, I'll just go around and have everybody introduce themselves. Marianne Borgeson, County Board.
Patrick Bloomingdale, County Administrator.
Colleen Frederickson, HR.
Shamar Net, County Clerk.
Carol Donnelly, HR.
Tim McNally, HR.
Kim Bolo, County Administration.
Lawrence Sanfilippo, Alliant. Ian Shada, Alliant.
Julie Hughes, Holmes Murphy. Anna Evans, Holmes Murphy.
Okay, so with that, we have two agenda items. The first is the Alliance going to present a new voluntary benefits plan. So you guys, come on up to the. I've got plenty of.
On down.
Speak back here first and fourth.
Happy to. Also, what the front, yes.
Okay,
I've got enough. These, I see you've got one.
I got mine,
Perfect.
yeah.
Colleen always coming in the same day.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, you sure?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, thank you guys. My name is Ian Shade. I'm with Alliant. Been helping you guys with the voluntary benefits for a little over a year now, and so actually no, going on a year. So really appreciate the partnership and the work we've done together. Just want to reiterate what brought this conversation kind of forth is if we look at the history of the voluntary benefits in place in Douglas County, prior to working with Alliant and making the changes we made last year, all of the voluntary benefits offered to employees, the bulk of them were through a traditional Aflac sense. So an individual Aflac agent came in, sold Aflac products, and they were all individually underwritten, individually priced. They were subject to underwriting questions. And they had multiple layers of enrollment systems that they had to go through. And so it was just kind of a clunkier experience than it needed to be. We were able to go to Aflac last year and say, hey, there's thousands of employees in this organization. These rates are incredibly high for an organization of this size. Aflac then offered their group line of items. So group accident plan, group critical illness, group disability, group hospital plan. And it saved about 50% on the rates. So employees got a 50% reduction with similar plan designs. So that part was good. What we were not able to accomplish because the group Aflac did not have a group equivalent to the supplemental vision, the supplemental dental, or the cancer plan, we had to keep those with individual Aflac. And the way Aflac works is they've almost got two different entities. They've got the group side and the individual side. And although the main company is Aflac, it felt like there were two companies this last year inside Douglas County. And I had the privilege of being able to work directly with a number of employees over the last 6 months, 7 months, to talk them through their experience. And it seems to be a common theme. They're very happy for the savings. They love the premium savings. What they don't love is they feel like they've got two different companies they're working with. If they've got a cancer plan, they feel like they've got to call 1-800 number, which they do. And if they have a group plan, they have to call a subsequent number. And so it's just it's not as great of an experience as it could be. But the positivity I hear around the savings is great. I mean, they love that the premiums went down, and that's huge. Obviously, in a inflation economy, that's important. So what we're presenting here is the idea of streamlining this experience a step further. We want to get rid of that feeling like there's multiple like Aflac Group and Aflac Traditional are working against each other. We want to get rid of that feeling, and we want to make it a streamlined experience for the employees, while also providing savings and improved benefits. So that's what I've got in front of us. So going through this presentation, hey Karen, going through this presentation, I don't go through quickly because I'm sure you guys want to stay here for a couple hours, but I'll fly through this thing. You'll notice I'll go through each product line that's on a voluntary basis. Voluntary basis, just for so we can reiterate that, is it's available to employees with employee dollars. So no contribution from the county. And so if we look at the short-term disability, right now the short-term disability is with Group Aflac. Now, that was about a 50% reduction from what was enforced the year prior. So that's great. Those are great rates. But if you look at the Mutual of Omaha product, and if we think about Mutual of Omaha, it's in Douglas County, it's across the street. They're coming in even stronger. I've laid a couple examples there. Somebody who's 34, somebody who's 47, and somebody who's 54. And I just did 3 different weekly benefit amounts. So in the first example, somebody who's 34 who wants a $946.15 weekly benefit. So that's 60% of just a random salary is how we got that number. On Aflac currently, they'd pay $101 a month. Move into the Mutual of Omaha, they'd pay $76. So almost $25 a month difference in savings with the same plan design. So again, significant savings right there. Somebody who's 47 making $230.77 for a weekly benefit. On Aflac, they'd be paying $25. If we move to Mutual of Omaha, they're paying $18. Plan design's the same. The way it's underwritten, the way claims are decided is contractually the same. It's just one's Mutual of Omaha and one's Aflac. So better opportunity there. And then you'll see that third example, somebody who's 54, they choose a weekly benefit of $576.92. $68.40 is what they would pay for Aflac. $46 is what they pay on the proposed Mutual of Omaha. So rate savings again. One thing I want to stress as I talk through these next 2 programs, I'm working with Holmes Murphy, which appreciate the response back. Working with Holmes Murphy, wanted to make sure that you guys were able to take advantage of Mutual Omaha and Blue Cross Blue Shield's agreement that they have in place. So Blue Cross of Nebraska and Mutual of Omaha do have an agreement in place that if you place a Mutual of Omaha worksite product, which is what these are, you can get 25 cents off of your admin fees, so the ASO admin fees, up to 75 cents, so 3 products. So I propose 3 Mutual of Omaha products here. So that will also reduce the cost of the administration fees in the Blue Cross Blue Shield that you guys are paying just by placing these. So additional savings there. So moving on from the short-term disability, unless there's any questions there on the short term. Perfect. So moving on from the short-term disability to the accident. Accident plans, paying for unintentional injuries. Again, these are effectively the same designs in terms of how they pay and how they work. It's just if we look at the Aflac plan versus the Mutual of Omaha, you're going to see significantly richer benefits. Just choosing a few, I won't go through each of them. Choosing a few, we look at the doctor's office. So somebody gets hurt and they go get seen by a doctor. On the low Aflac plan right now, which again is about 50% of what was in place the year prior, so great rate reduction. But on the low Aflac plan, that employee is going to make $50 for going to that doctor's visit. If they get an X-ray, they'll make $75. So they'll make $75 if they get an X-ray. If they're on the high plan, they're going to make $100. Mutual of Omaha, the low plan pays $100 instead of $50, and you don't need an X-ray, so you're guaranteed $100 no matter what. And they pay $175 on the high plan instead of $75, and you don't need an X-ray, so just $175 every time. The big piece is follow-up treatments too. If you look at the follow-up treatments on the Aflac, it's $25 or $35 depending on the plan you're on. On the Mutual of Omaha, it's $150 or $175 6 times. So if you think about that, on an accident plan with Aflac, if you use all 6 follow-up treatments, you're going to make $150. That's 1 Mutual of Omaha follow-up visit. You have 5 of those left over after that. So significantly improved benefits, and the rates are lower. And you'll notice as you go down, pretty much every line item rates are gonna, or the benefits gonna pay out more, but the rates are less. So the other one I want to mention is a wellness benefit. The wellness benefit under the current Aflac, and note that this doesn't show it, but it's a gradually increasing scale. So it's $15 for a wellness benefit on the low Aflac plan this year. It's $25 this next year. So it's not a fair representation, but it's close. And then the Mutual of Omaha is a $75 wellness on the low plan, $100 wellness on the high plan. What that wellness benefit is it doesn't matter if you use this plan or not. If you get a list of things done, their wellness procedures like an immunization or an annual physical or an eye exam, you can claim that wellness benefit, you and anybody you have on your plan. So it's a great way to get some of that premium back. With how low these premiums are, you can pay for the majority of the premium with 1 wellness visit.
Mm-hmm.
So another great way to get those dollars back to the employee. And then moving on from the accident plan, unless there's any questions there. Again, rates should be lower. Perfect. Moving on from the accident plan to the hospital plan. Hospital plan is a fairly simple plan to think of. You're going to get an admission benefit when you're there for 24 hours, and then you're going to get a confinement benefit, which is every day that you're there. There are additional benefits if you end up in the ICU. Good rule of thumb is it just doubles your benefit. So if you end up in the ICU, it's gonna pay twice what it's paying if you're in a normal hospital visit. If you look at the Aflac, again, significant rate reduction from the year prior, so these are really good rates, but Mutual of Omaha is offering better rates and an improved plan design. There's no wellness benefit on the current Aflac. We'll add a $50 wellness benefit on the hospital plan. So that's an additional $50 back per person on the plan just for for getting an immunization or doing an annual physical or doing your eye exam, things you're gonna do regularly anyways. So just making that offering that much stronger. The other thing I want to mention that I don't think I have yet, we are eliminating any need during this open enrollment for medical questions. Everybody gets on these plans regardless of experience. So you could have had a cancer diagnosis, you could have had, you could have a pre-existing condition, or you could have a scheduled surgery coming up in February. It doesn't matter. As long as you get on during this open enrollment, Mutual of Omaha is going to pay that claim like you never had that scheduled or never had that event. So, go ahead.
I was gonna ask, is that just this year or does that occur every year for open enrollment?
Great question. So that's at the initial open enrollment or anytime somebody's hired. In subsequent years, you can get on during open enrollment, but you could be subject to evidence of insurability, which would be a list of medical questions. How that differs from the current, like individual Aflac, if we look at the individual Aflac dental, the vision and the cancer, no matter what, it doesn't matter when you enroll, you're answering a series of questions that can knock you out. This year, everybody gets a bite at the apple. We don't care of past experience. We're not going to ask it. We don't want to know it. You get on these plans. There's no pregnancy exclusions. So if you're looking at hiring or you have a population of childbearing age women that are starting families, they could be currently pregnant. They can get on these plans. It's going to pay. So no pregnancy exclusions and there's no waiting periods. That's the short-term disability. That's the hospital. That's the accident plan. Doesn't matter. So those three products, again, guaranteed issue, no medical questions of this open enrollment. The other reason why we liked Mutual of Omaha for those three products, specifically the short-term disability in the hospital, is they've created in the last year a simplified claims process where if you're carrying a short-term disability policy, for instance, and you file a claim, they're going to see in your doctor notes as they go through that you're also qualifying for a hospital plan. Like you have a hospital plan, you qualify for the hospital claim. They're going to pay both claims out simultaneously without you actually having to file a hospital claim, or vice versa. If the hospital claim is showing that you've been disabled and you've been unable to work and you've met your elimination period, they're going to start paying the short-term disability claim automatically in one single claim. So it's that claims process makes it a little bit better. One thing you're going to see on these is an express benefit. That express benefit pays the moment you file a claim. So it's almost it's just an act of good faith. Let's say you file an accident claim. The express benefit, if it shows $100, the moment you file that accident claim, $100, as long as you use your ACH information in there, will be in your account in the next 24 hours. And that's that express benefit. It's just paying to get it going. It's there to incentivize claims because they want to show, hey, we have a reason for you to file this claim. We want to make sure we're paying these claims, that we're here doing our job. So I love that about Mutual. They're the only ones I've seen that are doing those express benefits. And again, even if the claim gets denied, they don't go get that $100 back. They pay that as an express benefit to incentivize filing claims.
Is that new, Ian?
That's new.
I have a question. If someone has the hospital indemnity and the accident and both pay a wellness, do they get double?
Yeah,
Okay.
you can file the wellness claim across the same event for any number of plans that you're holding that have a wellness benefit. Great question.
That was a good question.
Okay, so those are the three Mutual of Omaha plans I'm proposing. What Mutual of Omaha does not have is they do not have a cancer plan. One thing we have to address is that, and this is what happened last year, we couldn't replace the individual Aflac cancer plan because Group Aflac didn't have a cancer equivalent. So I had to find a cancer plan that's going to be comparable to the individual Aflac so that we could eliminate that need for pre-existing questions and any kind of underwriting. So because of that, we're proposing alongside Mutual of Omaha that we also introduce Guardian. Guardian's a very strong company. They've been doing these kind of benefits for a long time. Life insurance for forever. Very financially sound. But Guardian does a similar product. They do all the same things Mutual does and Aflac does. All of these companies do it. There's another 60 companies out there that do this. Guardian, when they came back with the most aggressive rates for the plan designs. So you'll look at this and we can compare the critical illness plan. So I'm looking at the critical illness plan now on page 4. The Aflac critical illness plan that's in place right now allows up to $30,000, and this is guaranteed issue at the initial enrollment. So anybody can get on for $30,000 as you have it now for the employee. The spouse can have 50% of the employee's amount, and children can have 50% of the employee's amount. With Guardian, the employee can have up to 50,000 this year. So instead of 30,000, they get an additional 20,000 for critical illness coverage without any medical questions. Another big improvement is spouses can have 100% of the employee's amount. So where previously it was only 50% of the employee's amount. So if you had $30,000 and your spouse wanted 30, they couldn't. They could only have 15. This year they can have 30, assuming that Guardian would go in place. They can have whatever the employee signed up for. And then children have 50% of the employee's amount and they're automatically covered. So the kids are always going to be covered at whatever 50% of the employee's amount is. You'll notice that in terms of coverages, there's a significant amount of additional illnesses that are covered when you go to something like Guardian, a carrier like Guardian or a carrier like Mutual. Aflac does a good job of covering the main ones, the cancer, your heart attack, your stroke, your organ failure. But where Guardian's going to open it up to ALS, Alzheimer's, benign brain tumor, Parkinson's, stroke, multiple sclerosis. Those are things that I think are important to have because, cancer's not necessarily something that runs in everybody's family, but, maybe they've got multiple sclerosis. My sister has multiple sclerosis diagnosis. And so that's one that's important to me. So I like seeing that those additional illnesses are covered. The way that these plans work is it's a claim on a diagnosis. So if you're diagnosed with any of those covered illnesses, and there are additional illnesses, these are the main ones. But if you're diagnosed with any of those additional illnesses or those illnesses right there, you get a tax-free check for whatever amount you elect. So if you choose a $30,000 policy and you're diagnosed with cancer, then Guardian sends you a check for $30,000. And that's how that plan works. And you'll see there's no waiting periods. There's no pre-existing. So again, we don't need to ask medical questions. Everybody's going to be able to get in on it. And the rate guarantee shows 3 years, but between Mutual of Omaha and Guardian and these worksite products, you never see a rate guarantee, but they do file them just to make sure. So we have 2-year rate guarantees on the Mutual products, 3 years on the Guardian, but I've never seen an increase in my entire career on these kinds of products. Besides short-term disability does sometimes go up. But that is, if you look at the prices, they're very similar to the current Aflac. Again, this Aflac, they're really solid rates. It's not the rates that are necessarily a problem so much as it is coverage could be improved and the experience for the employees could be improved. And so that's what we're aiming to do. Any questions on the critical illness plan? Okay, so then I'm going to go to this cancer plan, Douglas County Cancer Plan. This is one that, and I'm sorry, it's not marked the page number.
It's after the life.
Yes. So the cancer plan, this is one that needs significant focus, in my opinion, as we look at this, because you guys do have a number of employees that are on the Aflac individual cancer plan. And the way the Aflac individual cancer plan works is that if you're diagnosed, you get an initial diagnosis benefit. Now, the standard Aflac plan is going to be $3,000 for that initial diagnosis benefit. However, a good number of employees have on their Aflac plan what's called a building benefit rider, which pays an additional $500 to the initial diagnosis every year that the policy is in force. It caps out at 10 years. So that's $5,000. So that means that their initial diagnosis, if they've held that plan for 10 years, is going to be $8,000 if you're following those numbers. So for an employee who's had that individual cancer plan for 10 years, that plan one, this low plan on the Guardian, it's not going to be beneficial for them because they'll lose at least $3,000 on the initial diagnosis because they're going to have $8,000 versus $5,000. But if you look at plan two, where the initial diagnosis is $10,000, it doesn't matter if that employee's had that plan for 10 years. They're still going to get a higher initial diagnosis benefit, and the scheduled list of benefit payments are going to be higher across the board. So that's where when we're helping employees enroll, we're going to educate them, because if it's not beneficial to them, we don't want them moving to the plan. Also, something I need to preface that I haven't already, no employee has to get rid of the plan that they have. Anybody who likes the Aflac that they're on has the opportunity to keep it. It just moves away from a payroll deduction and they just pay for it on their own via credit card, bank account, whatever they want to do. And so we'll never tell somebody they need to get rid of what they have. It's just letting them know that that carrier is no longer offered in Douglas County, but they do get the option to keep it on their own. But for all employees who are new, or employees that haven't had that Aflac cancer plan for, for 10 years, that plan too is lower cost than the Aflac plan. And it's higher paying pretty much 100% of the time. Again, no pre-existing questions. So this is the big one. There's no underwriting questions for this. On the cancer plan that's currently in place, every employee has to answer medical questions. And a good number of them have been denied in the last year. And so this plan, by putting this in place, everybody gets a bite at the apple. Everybody gets to be on this plan, no matter what the previous history looks like. For anybody currently going through a cancer treatment, we would never recommend they change their plan. We'd always recommend they keep it in force. And we will, make sure to communicate that. But for the average employee, these cancer plans are going to be significantly improved in terms of just baseline coverage as well as premiums. So they can save rates or save premium as well as get improved coverage. Any questions on that cancer plan? Above that cancer plan, you're going to see the permanent life. In place right now is a Mass Mutual policy, and if you guys want to keep the Mass Mutual policy in force, totally fine. I just wanted to show the additional option that's out there. Guardian does a similar design to them. The current way your Mass Mutual plan works is it's a whole life product, so it's going to be fixed premiums. Everybody pays the same rate throughout the life of the plan, and there is a there is a terminal illness rider on there. So if you are unable to complete 2 of the 6 activities of daily living, it will pay you out 75% of the face value in a check. So if you have a $100,000 policy and you're unable to complete 2 of the 6 activities of daily living, Mass Mutual will write you a $75,000 check that you can use for care, long-term care, things like that. That's their version of a long-term care plan. Guardian has a product out there that works the same way, fixed premiums all the way through it. But what's nice about the Guardian plan is there's 2 different plan options we can use. Plan 2, Plan 3 are the 2 additional options. Plan 2 extends the benefits for long-term care. It doubles the face value. Plan 3 triples the face value. So for a lower cost than what's in place right now, Mass Mutual is a little bit more expensive than the Guardian. If we look at the way the Guardian plan works, if I have a $100,000 policy with Guardian on this permanent life product, and I'm unable to complete 2 of the 6 activities of daily living, I can start pulling from my $100,000 to cover the cost of long-term care. So whether that's somebody coming in to care for me or me going into a care facility, I can start pulling from that $100,000. If I'm on plan 2, I get $200,000 of living benefits. If I'm on plan 3, I get $300,000 of living benefits. So that $100,000 plan could really be a $300,000 plan in the event that I need long-term care. Whereas right now, the current Mass Mutual that's in place is only 75% of the face value. So we can add at least 25% more in long-term care coverage, but we could technically add 200% more. Should we choose plan 2 or plan 3? Either way, less expensive than what's currently in place. With that said, what's currently in place is a permanent life product. So it's not always suggested that an employee moves from what they've had for 10 years because it's a fixed rate. It was based off when they were 10 years younger. It's always going to come down to premiums and what makes sense for the employee. So this might not be a good opportunity for everybody. But again, no employee who's on something currently will lose that coverage. They get the option to keep it. The Mass Mutual is the same way. They can keep it on their own, same cost, all the way through the life of the policy. Any questions on that?
Yeah, just want to clarify for
Yeah.
everybody. So under the initial death benefit, it says it's guaranteed to age 70. I know the plan covers you up until age 120, but then it says there's a reduction by 50% potentially
Great question.
from age 70 to 120. And does that reduction then affect plan 2 and 3 for the long-term care benefits?
Great question. So the answer to that, so what Karen's stating is that there's a 50% age reduction when you get to 70. That's currently in place with your Mass Mutual. The way Guardians is they do a guarantee of 50%. They do not reduce your policy by 50% at age 70. They reduce your policy based on the interest rate environment at that time. Right now, we're seeing the average reduction when somebody turns 70 to go from, if they have a $100,000 policy, it goes down to 96,000. So a $4,000 reduction. They are just guaranteed that it will never go lower than 50%. So the way they're handling it is they're basing it on the interest rate environment and what they've been returning, basically investing in the premium you guys have been paying over time. And if they have enough to keep that benefit in force, they do. But there is the potential they're going to reduce it when you turn age 70. That does, whatever your face value is, directly correlates with what your long-term care benefits are. So that's a great question. But again, the way the current Mass Mutual one works is when you hit 70, it's a full 50% reduction right there. So this will at least hinder or at least slow the reduction down.
And it's a guarantee issue.
It's guaranteed issue. There's no
So,
medical questions.
yeah.
Yes. So if you've been denied previously, it does not matter. Those are great questions. Anything on that permanent life? Okay, and then the last couple that we're gonna look at is on page 7. I'm gonna look at the legal plan. So one thing we're proposing is adding a supplemental legal. Most people out here, Legal Shield's big. The reason US Legal Services is my favorite is I have yet to see any other legal product that is fully indemnified like this one is, which means if you've ever had like Legal Shield, for instance, I've used it before. I used it once to try to file a patent. Turns out somebody else had that idea. So that did not go anywhere. I also used it to file an LLC. But when I used it, all it did was give me access to Legal Shield's network of attorneys at a discounted rate. I still paid for that service. You know, to create an LLC was like $500. To do a patent was still going to be 10 grand, but it was 5,000 lower than their normal. But it was just a discount service. With US Legal Services, everything in there is included. So you pay your $18.75 a month that covers everybody in the household. If you wanted to file a will, it's free. You pay it with your $18.75. So that you just access the app, they'll connect you to your attorney, you file your will. If you want speeding ticket assistance, it's free. If you want, probably the wrong place to say that, huh?
No, I get it. No, I'm just kidding.
If you want anything with IRS audit protection, again, it's included. You've been paying for that. So everything is already, if you want to file an LLC, it's included in your costs. There's no out-of-pocket costs. There's no bill you receive from the attorney for those services. The only thing that they put a limit on is family law. So if you're using it for divorce, they'll give you 12 hours of an attorney's time. Hopefully it's an amicable divorce. And you get it done in 12 hours.
What if you're getting sued for not hiring the person that wanted to be hired? Will you get for that?
Legal Shield.
Oh, you know, you can't go against the employer.
Say I get sued.
There's
No, let's say that's not me. Let's say, so hypothetically, somebody gets sued individually, even though they're somebody that's hiring somebody else and that person doesn't get hired. So they sue the employer, but they also sue you individually.
So US Legal Services will not let them go against the employer in any realm of it. They'll never let you go against.
No, but
No,
it would
he's in
be
the state.
defending the person who's being sued individually.
So say.
By the employer?
No,
Oh, okay, so let me just say this,
Yeah.
okay. Thankfully, I'm being represented by the county, but I didn't hire somebody. So I'm being sued
For employment.
for employment. So I'm being sued for that, for not hiring that person. The county's being sued and I'm being sued in my individual capacity. Now, hypothetically speaking, let's say the county says, you know what, Patrick, we're not gonna represent you because we don't think you acted within the scope of your employment. You didn't hire the person because whatever, you know?
Yeah.
So I have to go hire my own counsel. Will that be covered?
Well, Patrick, I didn't see that on the brochure. But
No example I give you will ever be shown on any of those, ever.
I did not see that on the brochure, but I will dig into that one.
Because that's the only reason I'm not retiring is because I don't want them to stop representing me.
That's a very, very good. I want to find that out just in case I'm ever asked that again.
You will never be asked that again.
yeah, you could.
When I am though, I'm gonna shine.
Okay.
That's my time to shine.
All
I
right.
will follow up on that one.
Thinking further in there.
Yeah, I'll follow up on that one. That's a good one. Yeah, and then I'll add that to this spreadsheet,
Just 'cause I'm tired.
if there's enough lines. So that is the proposed legal plan, again, completely voluntary, no amount of participation requirements, so we could open that up to the staff if you feel that that's something that would benefit them. Intended to just give the average everyday person legal access that they might not otherwise be able to afford. So big proponent of that. And then the ID theft. So ID theft protection currently enforced, you guys have ID Shield. Identity Force, the reason I like Identity Force over a company like ID Shield is they're owned by TransUnion, which is one of the 3 credit bureaus. So if you think about how these plans work, ID Shield has to pay millions of dollars a year to TransUnion in order to access to relieve credit, to help restore things. Being owned by TransUnion, Identity Force, which is what's proposed here, has instant access. It's quicker relief for those employees. It's indemnification too, and it's also they don't have any pre-existings. So if you're currently working through something you've been compromised, and maybe you're compromised a year ago, and you get on this plan and it goes in effect January 1st, day one, you can use this plan to cover the cost of recouping, your services and your time and getting yourself restored, even though it was something that happened a year ago. So they will go back years prior to things that have retroactively impacted your whether it's your credit, whether it's somebody's using your social security and taking out loans, whatever it is, they'll restore you, even if it was before you had this plan in place. And so that's a really cool feature. It's lower cost than ID Shield. It's quicker resolution, specifically to TransUnion. It's the same amount of speed to restore Experian and Equifax, but at least one of the 3 is pretty instant. But and then it also includes a number of coverages that ID Shield doesn't. Specifically childcare monitoring and coverage for children. ID Shield will monitor some children activity, but they won't actually provide coverage for it. Identity Force will monitor them and provide coverage for children. So if you have a kid who just happened to get their social, I mean, it
happens.
yeah, it's especially I feel like now the age to get TikTok's like 6. So I mean, if somebody's on there and they compromise a 6-year-old, 8-year-old, obviously that's going to be they're not checking their emails. 6 and 8-year-olds aren't usually checking their emails. And so if they are compromised somehow, this will monitor that. But if it doesn't catch it and they're impacted, it'll provide indemnification. It'll restore any monetary damage. It'll work to replace the Social Security if that needs to happen, whatever needs to be done to restore it.
So on the identity restoration services, that includes them, like under Legal Shield, that includes them writing letters to various parties
Absolutely.
to correct beyond the trade,
Yes.
credit bureaus.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. When I say it's meant to indemnify, it means bring you back the whole. So it is meant to put you at the place you were prior to being compromised. So whatever that entails, they're going to do. And then the very last thing,
Mhm.
and then you guys can stop listening to me, is pet insurance. So this is a hot item, hot requested item this last year.
It is.
Yeah.
Everybody wants it. It is.
So I've got 2 different carriers here that I'm proposing, and they have 2 totally different functions in terms of administration. So the first one is Pet Partners. Pet Partners, if you look at it, you pick a dog or a cat, and you've got the prices associated with it at the bottom. It's composite rates. Doesn't matter how old your animal is, doesn't matter what breed they are. You have a dog or a cat, you're paying either $24.97 a month, or if you want the wellness, which includes things like heartworms and stuff like that, then you're paying $34.47 a month. Or if you have a cat, you're paying $12.66 or $20.04 a month. Everybody pays that same rate.
Mhm.
It's a payroll deducted plan. It can be built into Solarix, which is your guys' enrollment system. Pretty streamlined, easy to select. But again, everybody pays the same rate. So you have to look at it as is that okay? Are you comfortable with that? The other option is Spot. So if we look on the right side, Spot is a pet insurance company. What we'll do is on your benefit guide, there will be a QR code, and then on the system as employees are enrolling, there will be a link that goes directly to Spot's website with Douglas County's discount built in. So it's 20 to 30% off the rates that they could get if they went to spot.com right now. So it is still a employer benefit. and they get to choose a plan. So there's a list of plans. You can choose 70% reimbursement, 80% reimbursement, or 90% reimbursement. You can choose your deductible, and you can choose what your maximum benefit is. With Pet Partners, your maximum benefit is $5,000 a year. With Spot, you can go unlimited. There's an unlimited plan. You could have no maximum benefit. The rates differ based on the age of your pet, the breed of your pet, the zip code you live in, and then your plan design. So you choose, you want a $100 deductible, do you want a $500 deductible? The reason for that is because every employee can find something within their budget. If they're okay taking a $500 deductible and they're like, look, if my dog has a really, really bad, illness and I'm okay with $500, but after that I need some help, then that might only be like a $8 a month plan and they can do that. It's customizable that way. It will not be a payroll deducted function because there's too many variables. Everybody would have something different and there's no way to track that. So what it does is it's the last thing that somebody can enroll in on the system. It'll be the last thing on the benefit guide. They get to click it. If they're on the system doing an enrollment, like if they're self-serving or if they're on a call center or they're doing it in person, whatever it is, the last thing will be, do you want to look at pet insurance? And then they would go to the Spot website, enter the information on their pet, they'd get their rates, and they'd play with the plan design until they find something that's appropriate for them. And then they put in their bank account or credit card. And so again, it's an employer benefit, it's an employee benefit because they get a significant discount. It is truly 20 to 30% lower than what they're gonna find on the market. But it does not feel like, they're not gonna see a payroll deduction and things like that.
And if they have more than one pet, they get more.
Right,
20%.
yeah, that's true. 20% if you have multiple pets. 20% discount on the
I got
second
three.
pet.
Yeah, I mean, that's
Yeah.
what I'm saying. A lot of people do, right?
Yeah, that's a good point.
I
That's
have
why you just
5,
have-
and I'm gonna have 6 here pretty soon.
That's why you just have 3 of the same dog and you just take one policy on the same dog at the same age and they don't know which one's getting
I got
taken care of.
I got 3 dogs and 2 cats, and somebody in my household decided it was great to get another dog, so we're gonna get another dog.
You're gonna need a kennel license.
So now,
I'm pretty sure the 5th one's free.
I hope so. No, I tell you what, it ain't free, I'll tell you that for nothing.
But so those are the differences. So you just have to decide is it, because it does create an administrative burden. Having a payroll deduction for pet insurance does create an administrative burden. It's another bill to pay, it's another thing to reconcile. Now there's only 4 rates, so there's only 4 variables in there, but it does create administrative work.
Yeah, and we've talked internally within HR and we're in favor of Spot for a variety of reasons, not just from the administration standpoint, although that is a plus for us, but also because just what Ian said, they can pick their deductible, they can pick their maximums, they can get the multi-pet discount. There are other reasons. And so for a person that maybe wants to have some kind of pet insurance because they're afraid they might have to have a $5,000 surgery at some point in the doctor's life, in the dog or cat's life, but they set the deductible that high, that brings the premium down lower for them. So, whereas maybe someone else, like you said, might want $100 deductible because they've got prescription drugs they get for their dog or cat every month.
Yeah. It truly does allow the flexibility to find something within your budget. So definitely a good choice if that's the route you take. And it's perpetual enrollment. So unlike the rest of the benefits, you could get on Spot because again, it's just that link built into your benefit guide or built into the system. Employees can access that any time of the year and get that discount and have that pet
Yeah,
insurance.
so they miss open enrollment or they don't do it at open enrollment, but then they get a pet after that.
Yeah.
They have 3 and they want 4.
Yeah.
Or 4 want 5. Yeah, or 6, whatever.
What it is, I guess.
That's the real reason you're not retiring.
And unfortunately,
You can't afford it, you just got pets.
Any additional questions to any of the things I've talked about? That's a lot, right? That's a lot of stuff.
No, you did great.
And it is gonna be somewhat of a cultural shock. You guys have had Aflac in place forever.
Yeah.
It's been a long time. And it's gonna take a lot of, I think, upfront communication, which we're willing to, we're willing to do a number of communication campaigns, provide communication that you guys can send out to just prepare employees for this. And I think that's the thing we really failed on last year is I think, and, you know, I'm probably at fault in this. I thought that maybe going Aflac to Aflac, there wouldn't be, you know, it'd be perceived as it's the same company. But since they truly act as two individual companies, it was like changing out one company with another one without preparing the employees. And so that wasn't as well received. Now, when I was able to talk to the employees and they'd hear what happened, they were well in favor of what happened because they got the premium
Yeah.
savings. So the recommendation this year would be if these choices are decided to be put in place, that we get ahead of it with some communication and just let them know, hey, we are going to be moving away from Aflac. And then in really big letters, no one has to lose anything they've got in place. They can all stay where it's at. It's just going to go away from payroll deduct and on their own. But in place and in favor of the employees, there's going to be better, improved, lower cost products moving forward.
And I think Alliant did a good job trying to explain everything last year with Aflac and the changes. But the problem is that I don't think any of us anticipated how Aflac was gonna treat the group and the coordination with, or the lack of coordination with the individual policy side. I don't think any, I mean, literally, it's like they're two different companies and
Yeah, it
the
was tough.
coordination was horrible.
It's tough.
So, yeah, I think mutual is really good. There's lots of benefits, right? So it's lower cost. All of the products are better in benefits. And then in additionally, we get the 75 cent with the 3 from mutual. Guardian has a really good reputation. We've had employees that have wanted to get life insurance and haven't been able to because they've had a health condition. And so offering another new guarantee issue, giving everybody, as Ian said, a bite at the apple one more time so that they can get that coverage, I think is going to be really great. And then on the life insurance, the additional long-term care type benefit is really great. So to me, I think that I can't think of a reason not to proceed with mutual and with the Guardian and also the pet product and the legal, replacing Legal Shield and ID Shield with the products that have been presented today.
And should you decide to keep anything in force, just, you know, my promise to you guys is that I'll at least go back to those carriers and fight for an open enrollment, a true open enrollment with guaranteed issue, even if it's one that's been enforced for a long time. For instance, Mass Mutual, if you decide we're going to keep the Mass Mutual in place, we just have too many employees on it, it's fixed premium, I'll at least go to Mass Mutual and say, hey, we need to open up enrollment for everybody, regardless of pre-existing conditions, guaranteed issue, and we'll get it on paper that they agree to it. So if it does stay in force, I will do what I can to make sure everybody at least gets an opportunity.
Okay, any questions on this? This is awesome. Any questions from anybody on Zoom? All right, so next steps would be bring it to the board on, when would you think we'd be
As
ready?
probably as soon as we can, we'll need to see what kind of agreements we'll have to have in place. Those will have to go through the county attorney's office, but we'll need to get it done as soon as possible so that we have everything in place for
Mhm.
open
Open enrollment.
enrollment, which is coming up very quick.
Yeah,
Well,
well, we don't meet next week, so we don't have to worry about that.
Yes.
And then, I mean, again, county attorney.
I know, they're very swamped right now, and so we'll try to work with them as best we can, and if we can get if we can get sample contracts at
Yeah.
least, we can at least have them start looking at those and figure out, because we've got a template of what we know they want to add to those, so hopefully if we can give them some time. If we could get this to the board by mid-October, you think?
Mm-mm,
No, October 1st?
like mid-September.
For the voluntary benefits?
Yeah, because that's gonna be wrapped around with the Solarix benefit, with
Yeah,
the Solarix, so
Yeah,
I
But
just,
it's just getting it into the open enrollment platform, right?
right,
It's
but
not the deductions and all that yet till the first of the year, so we have some time.
they have to build it.
The system will have to be built.
Yeah.
So all the Aflac will be pulled
Pulled
off.
off. And
Mm-hmm.
then
and new
each one
products
can
are
be
built
put
in.
in. Yeah.
Which takes, I would, like on a conservative amount, number would be like 2 weeks.
Okay.
I mean, that, like, I'll get yelled at for 2 weeks, but we'll do it.
Yeah, that's why I'm saying if
preferably
we can
for-
do this, sometime during the month of September. Open enrollment's not until the end of October, first of November.
Yeah, if,
But
You would
if
be-
we can, we'll try to do it sooner rather than later,
if
but
we started the build first week of October, we could make it for open enrollment.
yeah.
As long as we know all the changes that need to be put in
Yeah.
place for medical, dental, everything else, we
I
could have it
just-
built.
I just know right now that the county attorney's office is very overwhelmed.
Yeah.
And so,
And we can pull the contracts that went through with the county attorney office on the last Aflac products and
Yeah.
just make sure that they're similar contract language.
and like I said, if we can get sample contracts
Yeah.
early, that would help.
Yeah, absolutely.
Could we put it in front of the board that we want to intend to go through with it, like we've done with the medical
Yeah.
and last year? Then we got those in place and then we can start
Yeah.
that process.
That we're gonna
For
go
them-
ahead with these
Yeah.
products, yeah.
Because then we could start that process faster and get everything built and then wait for those, Ian can
Contracts
get
to
those
come in.
contracts to
Okay.
us and we can go through that a
Sure.
little bit.
Yeah, if
It
that,
might streamline it just a bit.
Absolutely.
okay,
We
yeah,
make it
that's a
happen.
good idea, Colleen, thank you.
work for you.
All right.
And we
No
work for you.
other
Make it
questions
happen.
on this? It'll be before the board then in just a couple weeks for us to approve going forward with this. And then again, we'll have to come back with contractual arrangements, but at least they can start moving on it. All right. Well, thank you
Thank you.
very much. Good
Yeah.
to see you guys.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
And our last item is to discuss the high deductible in HSA. So
Yeah, so I asked for this to be put on the agenda, primarily because we have been continuing to monitor the high deductible health care plan and the HSA, the performance and administration of those plans compared to the PPO plans. And when we, several of the commissioners haven't been here when we went through this, but the intent with the high deductible health plan was that we were gonna see a significant reduction in claims as a result of putting the high deductible health plan in place, even with us seeding it with the $2,000 to $4,000 per year. And with the belief that people that were really healthy would not have as many claims, and they would benefit by being able to save money in their HSA account. So even though the deductible was gonna be higher, it was gonna be beneficial. But the problem is the deductible with the PPO plan is $600 and the high deductible health plan is only $1,000. And then we're seeding those two accounts for single or family coverage. We're giving them money in their HSA every year. And we've been promoting this. We've brought in a consultant several times who's done a good job, and we've promoted the high deductible health plan. And to date, we have 227 employees that are enrolled in the high deductible health plan, which obviously is significantly less than what we have in the PPO plan. And when we asked Holmes Murphy, which you guys are welcome to come up to the table. When we asked Holmes Murphy for some information as far as what our plan is doing currently between the two as far as claims, the claims difference is only, and I know this sounds like a lot, but it's not, is only $200 per employee per month difference in claims. So when I took that 200 times, a year, that's $2,400 a person, and then multiplied it by 227, it comes to a little over $500,000 in claims. Now that sounds like a lot, but when you have $31 million in claims, which is what we're running right now, it's a very small amount. And yet, some of the issues that we have with the high deductible health plan is that employees get very confused. They enroll in the plan, especially new employees, and they think they're gonna get all that seed money up front. And even though we tell them in orientation and we provide them with lots of printed materials that tells them it's on a per pay period basis that they're gonna get that over a year's time. When they get that first big bill and they have to come up with, you know, the total out of pocket, which is $4,000, 3,000, well, or,
Or 3 for individual, 6 for family.
right, but that's not including the deductible, so it's a total of 4, right?
No, it's 3,000 deductible for the HSA
Okay.
and then 6,000 for the
Okay.
family.
So when they have to come up with that money, they usually call us and they're very unhappy because 1, they don't have the money. 2, now they're gonna be put on a payment plan where they're gonna be charged interest. There's confusion, even though we tell them that they have to go in and set up a bank account with, Omnify in order for them to be able to get money deposited from the county. They don't always do that, or by the time they get to it, it's 3 months later and they're saying, where's my money? And we've said, well, you gotta go set up the bank account and we gave you the information, and then they want us to go back and give it to them and we can't do that. So then they're out that and now they're upset about that. And so by the time we go through all of the administration of this, we're just not sure that it makes a lot of sense. If we want the high deductible health plan to be really cost effective, then really we should be raising the deductible on the plan so that there's more out of pocket expense to recover what's going out in claims. Or we would have to make the premiums so much less that it would be attractive from that perspective. But then, yeah, but then why? And so at this point in time, we've talked about it amongst ourselves in HR, and we're just not sure it makes good sense for for the county to continue to maintain these 2 separate plans that from a claims basis have very little differentiation. It causes confusion amongst the employees. Those people that have the high deductible health plan and have an HSA, they will continue to have an HSA account. We're not taking it away. It's theirs. They own it. It's in their name. Money that's put in there, they can use. This point going forward, they can invest it, increase it. They can add to it potentially if their spouse has a plan. The plan that has actually probably saved us in claims was implementing the cash in lieu. So at this point, we would really like for the board and for this committee to consider the possibility of us not offering the high deductible health plan and the HSA come this year's open enrollment.
I don't know that you can do that quickly because
I know, we talked
It's
about union.
subject to collective bargaining. So that's something we're gonna have to sit down and strategize about, and then maybe reach out to all of the unions because, you know, if they wanna stand in the way, they can do that.
So do we know how many are union members that are?
I don't, not at this point. We got the information today from Holmes, and we'll have to get the names, or we'll have to pull the
We can
report
pull a
from
report.
Solarix. We can
Mhm.
pull a report from Solarix to find out how many, who they are, and then we can check to see what unions they're in. And, you know, so we've removed Central States, which also has been a nightmare for us. So come January 1, they'll be eligible to go into a plan. And if we're thinking about going away from the high deductible health plan, it would be nice for them not to enroll in that and then for us to tell them next year or whenever. And that's if the unions agree. And Patrick's got a good point, they may not. But from our perspective, we wanted to at least have this initial discussion and see if there was any concern about walking away from the high deductible health plan from the HR committee or discussion.
Anybody have any comments on it? I don't see a problem with walking away from it based on the data that's been presented, but again, I think it would, I mean, it's gonna depend on who's on it and how much pushback we're gonna get. And then that, I guess, would be more of a determination than us saying, go ahead. So maybe find that out and then
Come back.
come back.
Yeah, we can definitely do that.
Any other questions? So getting rid of these, they would just go automatically, basically, onto our
PPO.
PPO.
Yeah,
Okay.
they would be able to enroll in it.
Enroll in that,
Mhm.
okay, okay.
Or they may opt for cash in lieu then too, so.
But, right. Okay. All right, any other questions or comments on that? All right, so go ahead and, what I think would be go ahead and start those discussions and then we'll wrap back around. All right,
Sounds great.
well, that wraps up the two items for the HR committee. I'll give you guys back 5 minutes of your day.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We are adjourned.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you all.
You.